Yeah, welcome to another episode of the Racer X Exhaust Podcast. I'm actually in downtown Denver right now, standing outside of Broncos Stadium at Mile High. You can probably even hear the wind. Outside podcast. Press day today. It's a Kawasaki World. We had the Monster Energy Kawasaki 450 team and the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki 250 team here. So I, Jason Weigandt, had my chance to talk to one of the media darlings of the sport, Adam Cianciarulo, and his very lovable, popular, talkative trainer / life coach, Nick Wey, and that will be the subject of 45 minutes of conversation in this episode of the podcast, all brought to you by Yoshimura. Over 6 decades of four-stroke research and development. Check out their all-new website at yoshimura-rd.com. They've got everything you need for your bike, your ATV, your street bike. They've got exhaust systems for them all, so check out the new website. Also check them out on social media. It's also brought to you by Supercross Futures. There will be one of the Supercross Futures amateur races right here on Sunday in Denver. Great way to learn the ropes, or just to say you experience racing inside a stadium, depending on what level rider you are. I don't know where your goals are. That's up to you. So check out supercrossonline.com, and then you can see the Supercross Futures link in the upper right to get the schedule. We'll also be racing in Vegas twice. The finale in May, and then again for national championships on the AMA in October, tied into Monster Energy Cup. And we have a whole new issue of Racer X Illustrated out, the June issue. Last week we talked about 2 of the stories, the Brock Tickle story, waiting for his turn, and the 1 in a million photo story with BJ Smith. If you heard last week's Exhaust podcast, you know all about those. You can read it right now for free. We're not going to keep this magazine deal for free for long, so check it out now, digital.racerxonline.com. And I'm going to not sing the podcast song right here. I'm going to just dig into the file. Here we go. Podcast. 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 Yeah! All right, let's get into it. I found Adam Cianciarulo. I expected to do maybe a 5-minute quick catch-up. I realized that he likes to talk. He reveals a lot of info. Wey's awesome. And you'll even hear Mitch Payton a bit in the background. This is a fascinating conversation. Enjoy it. You're not still growing, are you?
No, absolutely not.
You're not like Giannis at this point.
Giannis?
Giannis.
Giannis?
Giannis?
Dude, are you for real?
I even just read how to pronounce Antetokounmpo.
Giannis?
Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Did I get it?
Jeez Louise.
He grew 3 inches after they drafted him. That's kind of like
it happens. Joel Embiid, the same thing. He was like 7 foot. He's like 7'2", 7'3" now.
Jeez, you got it bigger. That's kind of what happened to you.
A little bit, yeah.
I
got drafted and then...
And you got too big.
I got too big.
You got too big.
Making it work, though.
Yeah, okay, so let's just talk about the season. Hey, that's what we have to do. You said you want to be a different guy. I feel like for the most part, you have. All right, the last race wasn't great, but you have done it.
Yeah.
For the most part.
I mean, the last race last year, I ended up in the stands. After the second main, after that, yeah, I ended up in the stands for sure. But it just comes down to just being a little bit more level-headed, really. And that's before the season, I never won. I wasn't really a guy that won, really. Like, it was... I won 2 races in 2017, super far apart. And Vegas, kind of didn't count because those guys were going for a title. And then I won Budds Creek, 8 months later. I wasn't really a guy that could win consistently. And I think part of the reason for that was really I was coming off of a couple years where I didn't really ride, so I really needed to get better. So just for one, I needed to be better. And for 2, I was just too emotionally up and down. A bad race, I would just get super down on myself. And a good race, it was it's unbelievable. Yeah, we're stoked. And it's just hard to string together races like that. And I'm just not like that anymore. I get excited, obviously. You guys see me, down there. I get excited, no doubt. But it doesn't carry into my weeks at all. I really mean that. I mean, after Houston, you would think, geez, disaster. 12 points to 5 points. 2 races ago, what's he thinking? I really felt like any other weekend, honestly.
Okay, when you were first coming back to racing, look, you were a guy that you had been winning a lot. I don't want to talk about amateurs.
Please don't.
But you had been a guy that won a lot. It'd be easy for people on the outside to say, oh, he just needs to come back, get races under his belt, who cares about the results? But at this level, if you just get beat all the time for 2 years, that's going to leave a scar. You can't just get beat and learn. Woo! You finally got this bike started. Oh, I appreciate him. Let's go over here, yeah. Oh, we're going in the truck, even better. okay, you can't just you can't be like, hey, I'm coming back from injuries. I'm going to get my butt whipped for 2 years. It's going to leave a mark, confidence-wise and all that.
All right, so when I came back, and when I was coming back from my injuries, my mindset, it was easy to fall into a trap of like, okay, I really want, because I had been off the bike so much, I really wasn't capable of running up front consistently. Like, I just wasn't good enough. Like, I wasn't developed enough to do that. But I'm like, screw it. I'm going to go for it. And it just kept happening. And
so, is that where some of the crashes came from?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so it was a fight when I came back of like, you can't become okay with losing, but you can't.
Get in on this. You're doing an interview. Come on in. You got time?
You can't be okay with losing, but you can't blow yourself up trying to get. You have to develop yourself a little bit. And I will be honest, it did get to a point to where I became a little bit too okay with losing because it's either the extreme for me. Like, I'll kill somebody to win.
Yeah.
No, obviously.
Not actually, but I know what you mean.
But that mentality. Yeah. And so I had to balance that and learn to, like, I guess learn to have a winner's mentality again.
Yes.
And it took me a while, and it took me a while to get the belief back. The belief that I was good enough to beat these guys.
Did actually getting taller while you were missing time, do you think that actually also made it a little bit more of an obstacle? Like, does your riding style change and your bike setup change and all that while this is all going on?
I mean, yeah, it does, but I didn't really feel like that was as big of an obstacle as I was just weak, and I was growing, and I couldn't put on any muscle at all, and so it's like the first sign of any type of crash or anything, I was just too weak to be durable.
I see.
And that really only started to change in the really last year. Even in 2017, I was a little frail.
You did have some practice crashes.
You've
proven that you can bounce back up. Now. Get in on this, bro. Come on, Nick Wey. Get it? You're loud.
What about his jacket? What about my man's jacket?
Yeah, dude, that's like full. Like, you ready to ride your Harley out of here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go down on the cement, no problem. So that's
just slide.
You can survive a slash or two with a knife as well.
Actually, those Mafia T-shirts that you made at one point, the guys were running jackets like that.
Yeah.
Motorcycle Mafia. Yeah. Okay, this is working. I feel. I know you guys have worked together, but you're working together a lot more closely this year, and it seems to be paying off. Point sleep.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've made strides for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think a lot of the stuff like you talked about with Adam coming back from injury and having a kind of a hard time after his initial debut as a pro, a lot of it just comes from like just missing days of riding. I mean, it all adds up, right? Like, guys are riding 4 times a week.
Yep.
Every week while you're on the couch.
Yeah.
And ultimately too, like, as an amateur, he had family support as to where like he was probably the most prepared guy there. So then it kind of like snowballs mentally, and then ultimately he's used to winning, and then he's not, and everyone on the team expects that from him. So it's a bit of a struggle. So yeah, we've made some big strides with his riding on the track, and then I think also too we work pretty close as like friends, and kind of just developing the mindset that it takes to kind of do this consistently.
How do you keep the freaking out from happening? Because, dude, you were panic revs for days, win or lose, like back in your younger days. Like, to express your emotion. How do you try to keep that in check now? Or is that your job, or is that your job, or neither are you able to do this?
Well, I mean, we have, this is a weekly, this is an ongoing. This is,
okay,
this
I was
is
hoping.
ongoing.
Yeah, for sure.
To keep it in check. Not ride the highs too high, not ride the lows too low.
This is ongoing.
Okay.
You can't. That's part of what makes me too. So you can't completely take that away.
Absolutely.
Some of that want to is like, that's my advantage over some people, because when I'm out there, I will do anything.
Yes.
And that is part of the advantage, and that's all the best guys have had that. They're like, whatever we got to do. So it's just about that, and just balancing a little bit more, and kind of pairing that together with some better technique, which Nick has helped me with, which just ultimately makes me safer and makes it easier to perform consistently.
Okay, is there something, if I were smarter, if I were better, that I could literally watch video of him riding that I should be picking up on and see how much better this is, or see how much different this is riding technique? Is there stuff that's that obvious, like I should be noticing, or is it like so tiny, so subtle?
No, it's definitely not subtle. You for real?
So I just suck?
Just go watch a race from last year, the year before.
Even from like a year ago?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, name me something. Give me something.
Well, I mean, we work on specifics all the time, but
a
lot of
it is the first person to ever name a specific riding technique at the pro level ever. No one wants these secrets getting out. Can you give me one, or give me a fake one?
Really
so your real secret's not.
Well, I mean, like in the years past on for these guys, like using the clutch excessively will definitely deter some corner speed and obviously make it rough on the bikes and such. So we work on not using that excessively. That's one thing that we've worked on. But really, like going back to just the mindset type of thing where we talk about, like, you know, because everyone who's, whether they're top 5 or top 10, they've come through some adversity, and ultimately the biggest hurdle to get over is it's not really the complacency, it's just the feeling of defeat and like not attaining your goal. So I, like, obviously over the years I've really applaud Adam's commitment to winning at all costs, I would say, even when maybe he's not necessarily as prepared as he could have been.
You mean you can?
Well, I mean, for real though.
I get it.
Yeah,
this is real talk right now. So what you mean is not starting to accept, maybe I'm just 4th place or 3rd place, even if that's what you're getting, or maybe that's the level you should be at that moment. Don't just accept that.
Yeah, there's just that level of you have to, you know, urgency that you just it's just instilled in him from a young age that it's not okay for him to be 4th, which, you know, maybe in the future we might need to work on that a little bit, like the patience, because there's going to be some days where maybe 4th will work in a 17 race series.
Yeah, big class. What about tucking the right toe under the brake lever, which I feel has been your thing forever?
Oh, you know that?
Oh, dude, it's totally been your thing.
Yeah.
I did pick up on that forever.
This guy always gives me crap about it.
Is that good or bad?
I don't know how you do that.
Why do you do it?
Kenny does it.
Why do you do it?
I feel like it allows me to push down on the rhythm sections more. Like,
really?
it holds me down. If I try to do it otherwise, so if it's like super ruddy, I can adjust and I don't have to be like, I can go on the straight balls of my feet. But
so when it's super ruddy, it's definitely not a good idea. That's basically what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I wouldn't try it in the whoops either.
No.
But
even starts, didn't you used to even do it leaning back on starts a little bit?
I don't know.
No,
maybe.
No. I mean, way back. But we're not talking about amateur days anyway.
I don't know. There's a couple guys that do it, but I just feel like it allows me to like push in the rhythms more. That's where I feel like I make up a lot of my time, long rhythm lanes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. It's just a comfort thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that just riders kind of develop over the years. Like, I would get new boots, and I would be like, how is the top of my left boot all hammered? I don't get it. What am I doing? And then I started paying attention, and I would like hold myself with the bottom of the foot peg, like when I would seat bounce out of a left-handed corner. I'd be like, oh, that's...
The top of your foot
would be under the foot
You were
peg.
under the peg,
yeah,
and you didn't even know you did it.
If you notice, a lot of people do that.
But
I didn't. I didn't even know. I'm like, I messed up my boots. My boots. It's
actually kind of dangerous. Okay. Any other specifics? You mentioned clutch and corners.
A lot of other specifics.
Is one all you can possibly give? Because again, no one has ever talked about this.
No, but I mean, ultimately, it's just a bunch of. I mean, going back to like college athletics coaching, it's just going back to the basics and working on those.
Well, I know, but I can read stories in Sports Illustrated, and they tell this stuff all the time. I'm like, why can they talk about what Giannis is doing on the court, but no one can talk about it here? Can you give me any?
Wait, what do you mean? Like who? Like Sports Center, like analysts can talk about it?
I can read stories in Sports Illustrated about what Giannis Antetokounmpo is doing, actually, specifically in his practice and his workouts to improve this part of his game. But around here, everybody's so scared. So I don't know if you can talk about
it's more of
else.
like it's other sports, mainstream sports like that are far more progressive than our sport. They're way ahead of us.
Yes. Thank you.
So it comes down to
have a professional guy in the booth that used to play that understands every aspect of it, that would be able to point those things out.
David Bailey used to be really good at that.
Oh, he killed it.
Crushed it. But
I'm not
this Weaves guy, this outdoor team's terrible.
I didn't even know that you rode different than last year. I'm not even talking about TV. I'm just saying in general. Like, I feel like guess these coaches are willing to talk about it.
Transparency is looked at as weakness in our sport, and in other sports it's not. It's just as simple as that. Like we're stuck in we're in the 1980s still.
I agree.
And that's just part of like I guess the demographic of our sport. You know what I mean? Like we could take something that we wanted to. I could talk about something that I would like changed in Supercross, and I'm looked at as a crybaby. You know, that's just the general, and you know, you see all these NBA guys talking about like, oh, we got to get like more comfortable chairs in the locker room, like, and it's like a bit, you know what I mean, like little stuff like that. Yeah, and we don't need to take it that far. Like sometimes I feel like it's over the top in those sports, but we can kind of meet in the middle, and I think it'd be more entertaining for people too, because maybe riders wouldn't be scared to talk about some stuff.
Yeah, that's what some of it's the TV guys are smart and they can tell what they see. Some of it is people are telling them stuff that here people don't want to talk about. Now, for you, is riding technique Is riding technique, or are there things you've had to see, even in your years, you learn, develop, do things advance, do things change? Or is what you're trying to do with him the same thing that you would have told somebody or yourself in 1999?
No, there's a bunch. There's a things like obviously bikes have evolved.
Right.
Bikes have evolved a lot, and then ultimately like kind of. Oh, wow.
I'm kidding. I don't know.
And then honestly, even the Supercross tracks, and then lately the outdoor tracks, they've been leaving rough, which is nice to see. But ultimately, too, it just leads to like how you can do things consistently instead of like one time it's fast. It's like how do you do these things consistently good? So at that point, we work on that while riding, and then make that part of the repetition. But honestly, it's just a bunch of basics that we try to focus on. And honestly,
But are those basics kind of the same as they always were, or have they changed?
Changed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you have to learn, you raced for a long time. You in 97, and then you in 2007. Different?
Well, but as I would go, the bike would change and the tracks would change. So
Right.
yeah, like when I first started racing in professional, I was way better when the tracks were super tough because I grew up in Michigan. And in the falls and springs, it was like I'm riding tracks that are super rough and sanded.
Yeah.
And it's like half muddy all the time.
Yeah.
And then it's hard as a pro because you spend so much time practicing Supercross. So it's
Yeah.
like those specific things or those specific muscles that you may be working, say if you're training in those type of things,
Yeah.
maybe you're not as strong on the bike because you don't do those things. So how do we emulate those things that would, mimic those type of conditions off the bike also?
Have you had to come up with some
Yeah,
unorthodox
there's a lot of stuff that we do that's like
to mimic that?
to mimic that type of stuff.
So when you say strong on the bike, there's like specific things you're doing.
Yeah, I mean it's
not a
not
general
a
term.
secret that like the Europeans are
it's not a
super.
general term.
Yeah.
It's just to keep you guys off our case about what we're doing.
I'm pumping hard right now.
Yeah, and ultimately
the
too,
Euros,
it's not
talk about this.
a coincidence that they're really strong.
They have the strong on the bike part.
They're working the same muscles over and over that help you be in control but it's not because they're doing it consciously.
That Everett
Yeah.
story you told me was pretty good. Him skiing or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta get quiet now. We're giving away too much. Do you think that the few years where it was a struggle for you, did that help you in some way? Is there some sort of humbling motivation? I don't know. Some guys find a positive in that.
I mean, I guess I just never, I don't know if I ever wanted to find out how to lose, but I certainly didn't know how to lose. Like, I didn't know how to really go through adversity,
Yeah.
really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just gives me a little bit more perspective in terms of, like, understanding the opportunity that I have and, like, what the stuff that I get to do. I mean, as a kid, I really don't feel like I was spoiled as it was portrayed. Like, I really worked my ass off for everything. I mean, I definitely I had the opportunity to put in a lot of hours, and I certainly took advantage of it. I put in a lot of hours, but I feel like I earned everything.
Right.
And, but at the same time, I was always, like, way better. Or, like, not always way better. I got beat, but as a general term, like, I felt like I was going to win pretty much all the time.
It wasn't like it was, say, 3 years ago here, where you were just hoping to win one race in a whole year. Yeah. Right.
So I think just kind of just gives me a little bit more perspective, and even in situations like this where, in tight championship points chases, it's like I would have, in 2015 or 2016, I would have given anything to have one more shot at doing this because I didn't really know if I was ever going to be able to, like, really be as good as I wanted to be. And, and I think that definitely changes you, I think for the better.
I know you're like a big NBA guy.
Huge.
Right. So, hey, the points are close now. There's 2 races to go. This becomes like this almost playoff pressure type thing. Do you almost say to yourself like, hey, I always wanted to know what it'd be like to be in that position, and now I'm in that position?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would, obviously I'm not going to sit here and do the whole song and dance about how, like, I would prefer this. Obviously, I'd prefer to have more points.
Yes.
But at the same time, it's like I feel like the better guy is going to win, and this is like the first year where I really have a lot of belief in myself and my program and what I'm doing, and I think it's just a test of that, and I do feel like in the past I've performed really well, and when my back's against the wall, or at least when I feel it's against the wall, even maybe from the outside looking in, it doesn't feel like that, but when I feel the most pressure in myself, whether I've had a few bad races in a row and it's like, dude, if you have another one, like, what are we going to do?
Right.
Situations like that.
Yep.
I've won Vegas the last couple of years in tight, in championship battle, but I didn't have any pressure on me. I was double digits down, so that's not really a spot where I feel like I've proven myself there, but I do feel comfortable in these situations. And I think it's honestly, I know I don't want to talk about amateurs. You don't want to talk about amateurs, but
I'd love
every
to, but I
race,
can't.
every race for me as an amateur was like, if I didn't go out, I couldn't just win either. It's like I had to win by a lot, and if it wasn't, like I felt, that's part of my mentality that Nick was talking about earlier. If I feel like I didn't win by a lot, like my life was completely over. So that was the pressure as a kid I was used to dealing with. So it feels more normal for me.
Yeah.
Now.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. So yeah, right. You'd like to have a 25-point lead, not a 5-point
Oh,
lead.
that'd be
but it's-
amazing.
Yes,
Yeah.
but it is something like okay.
Yeah.
This will
I
be
mean,
cool.
you know, it is what it is.
All right, my last topic is you're pretty transparent with the fans. You're open. You're doing these interviews right now. I wonder always if you had just won throughout, like you started in Supercross, you started winning immediately. Had that worked out, I wonder if you would have been this cool. I don't know if you ever thought about this. You can't live two parallel lives at the same time to know. But I'm going to tell you what, on our side of the program, we were programmed to be James Stewart program. If you win at every level all the time, you can get away with whatever you want. And it doesn't matter because you're winning and you can be cool or not cool. Doesn't matter. You actually are cool. Maybe you would have been anyway. Do you think that it's helped you be a little more open and humbled and all that because you didn't just get to rule the world from day one?
Yeah, it was a conscious effort for me when I.
Yeah.
So when I came into the amateurs or came from amateurs to pro,
Yeah.
everybody kind of looked at me. Most people looked at me as like the kid that got everything handed to him. Like nobody wants to root for that kid that's just always been at the top. Seems like everything works out for him. I mean, it's hard to root for it's hard to root for the Patriots to win the Super Bowl every year.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's that type of
Mitch,
I like him.
Mitch likes winners.
Exactly. I love it too. But
Mitch
I'm just
likes
saying,
winners.
for the general population, it's tough.
He's the guy that I would like to have the ball with.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get it.
Yes.
But when I was going through that time, I made a conscious effort to be like, okay, like I'm gonna, I guess, because I wasn't racing, I had
Yeah.
to do something.
Yeah.
So I just tried to come across a little bit more, I guess, relatable to people.
Yeah.
You know, and it was not necessarily changing who I was. It was just trying to make it a little bit more obvious to people, and I think it probably changed the course a little bit. I'd probably be a little bit more cocky than I am now. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would imagine. I mean, if everything just always worked out for me, why wouldn't I be, I guess?
I mean, you weren't
James
necessarily...
Stewart was cocky, but MC was good all the way through.
MC was good the whole time. We were totally
I think
scarred.
it's the person. I don't believe that.
You don't think I would have got cocky?
It's not the results. It's
I
the
think
person.
I think it's the person.
All right, Mitch says it's the person. I'm
I
just
feel
telling
like
you we were scarred on our side.
I feel like my parents did a good job raising me. I don't feel
Yeah.
like I would be an asshole, really, at any point.
We are just scarred on our side with the dude that wins all the time. Forget it. He's never going to do interviews. He doesn't need to be cool. It doesn't matter.
But I
He's
wish
gonna
those
make
guys
tons of
would
money.
realize that if they were both, they could transcend the sport. If you're both, you can
Absolutely.
do anything you want. Anything you want.
Well, and ultimately, that was like maybe just before you started coming around. Like that was like the era, right? It was just until now. It's been like people seem to be like a little bit more educational about what's going on and
Yes.
like wanting to care about like let's make it bigger because it was like oh this work is overwhelming, right?
Yes.
Because I think it was the first generation of like oh this was my parents' idea, not really mine.
Whoa. You really think that?
To be completely honest, with you.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys you were racing with.
No.
you think?
no.
Mitch disagrees. So guys you were racing with, you think we're necessarily like that? Like I don't even know if I want to be here and do all this stuff.
Not that. It was
Oh, okay.
just not totally that. It was
Yeah.
just it went from one way where it was like everyone seemed to have a super independent attitude and like, and then it went to all right, we got a straight business.
People
And then
ask me, they're
at
like,
that point it's just
yeah.
it's different, right? Because it went from McGrath maybe racing half the series to obviously he raced just Supercross at the end there, and he did we'll call it like a full court press promotion as the height of the X Games
Yes.
and all that came.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden the level of the commitment that it took to really to get that type of success was like a whole nother level, and then everyone's like, well, it's hard for us to recover.
to do both. You're training and working so hard.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, like people, it's easy to start like complaining about things. By the way, I don't know if you can like do something.
No.
Time, you're good. Yeah, like a couple years ago, the TV guys, they had some story about some rider like blew something off. They're like, "Oh, these guys getting worse." I'm like, they're not. They're not. I'm like, if you saw what the post-race press conference was at Reed, Stu, and Carmichael in 05, that was as tense, as serious, as gnarly as it can ever get. There were no jokes. There were no smiles. It was work, work, work. I got second. I'm crying. I'm upset. I hate these dudes. Everybody's cooler than it was. That was gnarly. And you had some podiums at that time. You were around those dudes. Like, it was gnarly, gnarly, gnarly serious. There was no fun being had whatsoever.
I think now, to your point about
Yeah.
it seeming like our riders worse now, I think
They're not.
but I think
Yeah.
it goes back to the point of like So they say we live in the most peaceful time in human history right now. But if you go on Twitter, you think the world's falling apart.
That's a great point.
So I think people just have more outlets, and they just they're exposed to more stuff, and ultimately, the bad takes are what get the most page views.
Yes.
So I think I think it's just
and I think now that with social media and all that, it's just people understand that it's important to do that. I don't necessarily think it's like, the mentality is like night and day different. I just think the focus is a little bit like, well, we want to make sure our perception is good.
So what's refined is everyone's still doing all this work that they did, but now they're figuring out a way to still do a little bit of the other stuff.
I think they feel like it's part of the job, right?
Yeah. Although I don't know why you don't have a shoe deal. Why you're still paying for Skechers. Dude, you're the social media influencer. Like, have you exploited this? Like, where's your hey, 10% off? Type in AC92 and get essential oils at 10% off.
I paid like $55 for these Skechers.
Oh, come on. You got to help this guy in some other ways, okay?
He does, and his wife helps me. Nicole helps me a ton. Because, like, if I know I'm going over there for dinner at night, for example, you won't catch me eating during the day because I store it all up. I just wait for the nighttime to really capitalize. I'll snack lightly throughout the day, then I'll come over, maybe eat a lot more than I should, and then maybe, like, pack some stuff up and take it for the road. So I'm good until about 4 p.m. the next day.
Aren't athletes supposed to have multiple small meals throughout a day, not just load up at dinner time?
Yeah, he's hard to manage.
Okay.
He keeps calling me fatty, but my 32 pants don't fit me anymore. I've been wearing 32 since I was like 14.
Yeah, you're just getting longer.
Exactly.
Just getting longer, not wider. Okay. I'm not going to ask about the race weekend because this will be outdated by then.
You're getting the rig dirty with these shoes, dude. Are we for real?
What
you need
the heck,
Skechers?
man? These are Merrell's, but luckily they were on sale. Don't worry. They were full clearance. These are 11.5s. They're way too big, but they were a lot cheaper.
Love that.
So you're 11 normally?
10.5, 11.
How much do you think Nick's jacket costs? I'm gonna say $1,200.
1,200.
I got it from Roland Sands. It's part of like the answer group.
Oh,
it's
like real, like from Roland Sands.
That is not pleather. Confirmed, not pleather.
No,
That's real.
Animals died for that jacket.
I will go down in the parking lot, no problem.
Hey, do you bark at him at all, or is it actually like you're pretty level-headed, or how do you actually approach this?
No, all he's gotta do is look at me.
And you just go?
We get into it way more than it's perceived. Yeah.
You do?
Oh yeah.
You're not even joking right now.
No.
Does it happen on the races? Or
At Atlanta, I almost killed him.
You did good in Atlanta, bro.
Monday, he almost got his teeth knocked out. At the track. This Monday.
What happens? What sets you off?
Now
we got the good stuff.
I'll tell you.
The show has just started.
I'll tell you exactly what happens. So it's a Monday morning.
It's
a Monday morning. Normally that's K2. We normally go to K2.
Okay.
This guy's like Glenn Helen's a little bit more
Did you race Saturday? Like, what do you mean Monday?
No.
Like it's like coming off a race weekend?
Anyway, so we go to Glen Helen, and I have a 15+1. I have a 6+1 and a 15+1 on the schedule, and it starts.
Which nothing crazy.
This is the Glen Helen Supercross track,
yes.
by the way, right?
Yes. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
No, that's nothing crazy. This is a super short day, actually.
Yeah.
This guy is out here. For one, he gets all the mechanics to go down, and they're watering the track. And they're watering it for what? 30 laps? They're watering it, and this guy's in the skiddy, and it's like, I spent half the day, I spent 2.5 hours breaking the track in before I could even do my laps. And I'm like, bro, just leave it dry.
We're trying to get some quality in. Quality.
It's fine.
Like, I'm not going to apologize for some extra effort so we can make sure we get a good quality day.
And sometimes this guy will pull me off after the warm up or whatever in between some, and the first thing he says to me is, "You okay?" And I'm like, what do you mean? Am I okay? Does it look like I'm hurt? Like, what is that about? So I snap on him about that all the time. And Atlanta was pretty funny too.
Okay, give me that one. You did win.
You tell it. You better.
Yeah, come on.
It's really not that much.
And it's not really that much, but honestly, it's like because a lot of it is too because I was always striving to be better. I was always trying to be better, right? Yeah. Which is he's in a position where everyone is like where they're trying to be better on a daily basis, right? So everything's not always convenient. It's not always easy. Okay. And so the other day I said to him, look, dude, I've played this move where I'm just a jerk to everyone, so then everyone will leave me alone. And then then you can just play the like I'm gonna do what I want card. I said
that was me
if you think you're affecting me right now, I'm gonna hit you with a smile. Like you're not gonna deter me. I've played this move. I've played your role.
I never heard of this move.
And
what is this move? Like you'll avoid
be
people...
super mad generally, so then everyone will just leave him alone because like I don't know, it's kind of volatile situation over here today, and I'm like, you're not affecting me at all. We got this to do.
He comes out here.
We got
this
to do.
fake positive energy.
Were you doing that? Was that
on
your
Monday?
move?
And he's like, I get
that was your move.
Maybe you've done it. It's
Subconsciously,
my turn.
He kind of pointed it out that it was an actual move, like it was an actual thing. Subconsciously,
okay,
I do that, I guess, sometimes. Not a lot. I don't carry a bat. It's really, I performed fine. It's not like I came to the track with a bad attitude that brought me down and I wasn't able to get any better.
Where's BZ? He blew the reeds out 100% on purpose. Oh, we don't use reeds anymore. Never.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's really high tech. If they got reeds in these four strokes.
Fine.
I never thought like if you get mad at yourself, you're thinking that they can't really get on me because I'm already there. I'm already mad at myself, so no one's gonna be able to criticize me.
This guy at Atlanta, I'm getting an adjustment from Navarro in between the heat race and the main, and this guy's like he had told me 6 times already that the heat race was not good and that wasn't going to get it done. And I'm like, it's like 40 minutes to go to the main, and I get done. I'm about to go back in the rig, and he's like, you can't ride like that. Like that's not it. Like it's not going to happen. And I'm like, I actually threw an F-bomb down. And I'm like directly serious for the first time I think ever. And he's like, deal with it.
Yeah, he just gave the eye shrug to say it all.
Yeah.
Like I don't care about any of this.
Well, I mean, we spend a lot of time together, and
yes.
like I try to make sure that I have absolute value to helping him, and you can't. It's not always going to be exactly what he said. Like we're not going to do what he wants.
We almost never do what I want.
Pretty much never.
Yeah, never.
Well, that's
it's almost a 99% chance we're not doing what I want. I wake up in the morning, I'm not doing what I want.
But I definitely try to make it more fun. Because I get it that the monotony of doing the work is what is a bummer. But ultimately too, why he started riding is because he had a good time with it. So we can do the work and try to have a good time at the same time, and that's ultimately the goal, right? The goal is to win, but let's have a good time getting to that goal.
Well, it just makes it. I think it progresses faster if you have fun. I mean, it's not like the actual point of having fun. It's the fact that having fun makes you get better, faster and easier.
Yeah. Makes you want to.
Anybody can do the work, but it's different between doing the work and doing the work with enthusiasm. And
right.
So I go out there every day and I'm like, okay, I really need to work on this, and I'm not just out there just like.
On what? What? Give me a specific. What I need to work on? Give me one.
Looking ahead in the turns.
Okay, looking ahead in the turns.
It's a bunch of basics
stuff,
we work on.
Yeah, but no one ever says it, so this is still fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, looking ahead in the turns.
But the same thing too. It's we're he's been progressing, and then he's obviously been a great rider for a long time. But then my sons are riding, and so I'm very conscious.
Got an attitude on him too. Bad.
I'm very.
Oh really?
No, him and Adam get into it because Adam insults him and he's not having it. But because me, I know what the consequences could be, so I'm very conscious that they're paying attention when they're out there. So I'll do specific things to be tell them to do this and this, and if they're not paying attention, I'll pull them over and be we're going home, because it's if you're not paying attention out there with all of your, everything you have, then you're putting yourself at risk. So I'll work on these little things and step to step, so they'll be strong riders. Yeah. And then they've evolved pretty quickly for how much time we've gone at it.
About 30 minutes a week.
But it's
you're getting most of the time.
I get a lot of it, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe that's why Vince has such a bad attitude with me. You never take him to the track.
He's jealous. Oh yeah, so you're not even talking about performance. You're just talking about it's not safe.
No, his little one,
yeah.
D. I mean, he's a very multi-sport athlete. Every sport in the book. He's really not too worried about riding. He's I'll think about it. Right? I mean, he rides once every 2 weeks? He rides the bike. I mean, he's not that fast. He rides the bike really well. His technique is...
But the first time I think I gave him a tip on riding was this week, because he's he just listens to whatever I tell Vincent. Because he he thinks Vincent's cool.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, the older is cooler, yeah.
And I'm just I'm trying to deter him, right? Because I don't know if I can mechanic 2 kids.
Oh, so yeah, that's the other thing. I think people would think, well, you're working full-time with him and you race yourself, so with your kids you must be 24/7. How can they be better? But you're actually hedging that a little bit. You're not always thinking how they can be better motorcycle riders like you would be with him.
Oh,
a professional.
No,
right.
No.
Yeah.
But when we do go, I try to make sure it's quality, which is
Sure.
the same thing we're doing here.
Yeah. Just much higher quantity of quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, here's my billion-dollar question for you. I'm going to hit you hard with this one. Right? I don't think you look back at your career and say, I wish I'd have worked harder. Like, you worked for it. You put in the work. Maybe it didn't come as easy for you as others. You put in the work. So it's not like you're learning from, I wish I hadn't partied, so I'm going to make sure he doesn't party. That's not where your perspective's coming from. Do you say to yourself, if I had that level of talent, I would do X, Y, Z with it, and that's what you're trying to take advantage of for him?
No, I don't even think it's like a talent thing. It's just he put so much work into it at a young age that like once I raced pro, it was always a hobby for me. I was shocked by the business side of it, and really like the just how much the volume of work it took.
You were shocked.
Yeah, because like I had my dad worked a lot of hours, so I got to ride when it was convenient for him, or we had a little track in the backyard. So like I wasn't necessarily versed on what it took. Because I was a pretty good amateur rider, but I didn't like going to the pro level. It was a whole nother level of work that it took that I was like thrown off by, because it was like, I just rode for fun. I was a soul rider kind of.
Really?
So then I felt like
even as an A rider, team green.
Totally, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Well, that's changed a lot.
Yeah.
These days.
Yeah.
No one at that
I
level
didn't.
in the A class would not know that.
No one's underselling you didn't.
I worked. I
you
worked
figured it
hard,
out,
but
you just didn't.
Yeah, I worked hard. But I didn't have. I wasn't like mentally. I wasn't up for the.
Back in the day too, I don't think every rider went to Florida for 4 months.
Yeah, like the first year I even rode
the programs weren't even programs, right?
Yep. They had winter time.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
The first year I rode through the winter, I rode on Mitch's team. So like I went to school the year before that. So it's like it's obviously a lot different.
Yeah.
But then as I evolved into my career, it was like I felt like I was making strides to where I was getting closer to being able to win, and then injuries or whatever.
Right.
And then I got older, and then it was just too late. But I had, obviously I gave it everything I had, and I was buying assets to help myself be better the whole time that I was in. So yeah, I mean I learned a lot for sure, but I mean ultimately I think the biggest key to success at this level is you race so often is staying focused on what your goal is, which is winning, and then not being, because I would always be, because I had a lot of success as an amateur, but my biggest downfall was being so hard on myself and not necessarily understanding like what I needed to do to be better.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't specifics. I was just like, I don't know, I'm really frustrated.
Right.
So then I would just...
Also, everybody did not have a riding coach. Like, it was a different era.
Yeah, for sure. But, like, at the same time, like, I had access to, like, Jeff Stanton's a very close friend of mine.
Right.
And I went to ride with Ricky a bunch, or some. And then I, even when I rode Suzuki, they hired Rick Johnson to be the riding coach. So I learned a lot from those folks. But ultimately, everybody's so different that, like, it's just there's not, like, a specific outlay that works for everyone.
So with working with him, or if you work with someone else at some point, like, you can't just apply the things you learn. Like, you've actually had to teach yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
This is what's going to be working for him, or this is his weakness.
Well, for sure. But, I mean, ultimately, too, it's just staying focused on the task at hand. Because ultimately, for him, his shortcomings this year is just him feeling like he needs to do too much. Where if, like, he just does his absolute best and nothing more than that, then we would eliminate some of these mistakes. So from here on out, we have 2 races where he's just going to do his absolute best.
Yeah.
And the times where, like, I'll get onto him is where maybe he didn't do his best. Maybe he was a little too conservative in this heat race, or however the case
Atlanta
was.
heat race, apparently.
No, I wasn't anything to do with conservative. I was just
you know what I'm saying.
Yes. Yeah, so, because that's how I know. In your career, it's not like you look back and, like, if I had just worked harder, you were definitely doing that.
No, I felt like I definitely could have looked smarter, yeah.
Yes.
100%, yeah.
So that's why I was asking about specifics, because I think that's really the key here.
Yeah.
Specific things, not just ride harder, try harder, mental, blah, blah, blah.
Well, because even if, too, like, I was, like, like, Ryan's Villapota's first year pro, we rode together a lot.
Yeah.
And so I would always be like, I don't really understand how he's so fast right there. I don't get it, right? Mm-hmm. So there's just a lot of stuff that I broke down that just trying to improve.
You did start learning it then when you were riding.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm just trying, because I would like now we have segment times, and so I would take like the tape from the truck driver, and then I would take the tape from the race and do segments of myself on the little VCR, and then the other thing and be like, well, I got to do better right here to here. I can't believe I lost that much time in that flat corner to that flat corner when I'm like trying to work on the whoops or whatever, right? It's just.
Plus, we talked about that last night at the shop. I think when you rode for us, like, and I don't remember the year that we started. Maybe you remember. We used to not video practice.
I think you guys when I wrote
Over
for
the
you guys
shoulder
98,
cam?
it was you guys videoed.
Yeah, big giant.
I'm pretty sure.
They look like a T-shirt.
I remember
cannon.
reviewing, maybe not practice though, because it seemed like even then it was like practice was like pretty chill because it was like everyone's just checking it out because there wasn't lap times or.
No, there wasn't.
We're not checking it out now.
No, that's
No. This is good. Yeah, so a lot of that is this whole thing has become so much more refined.
Yeah.
Both amateurs and
And it
pro
will
level.
continue to get that way.
Yeah,
Like, it
and it's
continues.
just the same thing too. It's like there wasn't there wasn't an interview like this with Jeremy McGrath and Jean-Michel Bale available online at that point. 'Cause I would have been like,
You would have listened to it and tried to learn from it.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly, yeah.
yes.
I mean, I would like set my recorder on my thing and I set my alarm when I was like 11 to watch 2 a.m. Supercross.
Oh, I know the feeling.
So it's
Yes.
like,
If they did a story, it would be out 2.5 months later anyway.
yeah. And then for
Yeah.
me in Michigan, I would be like, I would get the
They'd
cycle.
ride
I would get
you-
the
they'd
cycle
ride
news
you
10 days later.
Cycle news
I
on
get the cycle news
horseback.
10 days later. Yeah.
I think we're similar to it. Nick and I are similar in how we think.
Mhm.
Like I've always been one that I'll put in any type of work, but I need to know why I'm doing it.
Okay.
Like what's the goal here? Like what are we doing?
Yeah.
And so we have purpose with stuff that we do, so it's easy for me to get behind.
Yeah.
You know, because and I've really bought into it, and that's what's really made me be better. Is I'm never. I mean, maybe on like a morning spin or hit this and that, maybe I'll go through the motions, but I'm never going through the motions at the track or in the gym with stuff we do. Like in no disrespect to anybody that I've worked with before, because I've learned stuff from all of them and they've made me who I am now. But it's just I have belief in every part of my program where I can have a lot of passion behind what I'm doing, and I really think just having that mindset and having that enthusiasm when you are doing the work, that is the stuff that makes you better. You know, not just plugging into a program and just being like, I guess this will work.
Well, the other thing is if you're ambitious like you are, and you want to get better every day, which you do, it's probably a lot more fun to go and say, like, today I'm going to work on these 3 things, and if I do that, I had a solid day and I gained, as opposed to, I don't know, I did some laps. I don't know if that helped me or not.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
honestly, a lot of the time in my career, that's how I'd be. Like,
I've heard that from a ton of guys.
Be like,
here.
I don't know, man.
You would just ride.
I feel like I did my best, but I don't know.
Yeah, you don't really know at the end of the day, did I
Yeah.
really check a box and improve?
Yeah.
You actually know now.
yeah, and even on tracks that we ride all the time, like we have, you know, our K2 track in Corona, which is typical test track.
Yeah.
You know, gets the one line blue groove thing, and
Yeah.
I feel like I can go there, and I've ridden, you know, thousands of laps, I don't know, hundreds of laps on that place, and I still feel like I make improvements when I go there because I'm working on something else or something that day, you know, and stuff changes too. Like over the course of a season, maybe I'll start, like I started getting too far back in the whoops a few weeks ago, so I had to work on getting a little bit farther up in the whoops. Yeah, I mean, that's fine to talk about to me. I don't care.
Yeah, but then
Yeah.
ultimately too, it's the thing is like the team is, you know, they're bringing a mechanic to the track with his bike prepared just like the race bike every day.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whether in Florida where he has a guy that doesn't work for the team working on the bike, there's some shortcomings and we miss some days because it's just
Not shortcomings from effort, but just like in
Not
terms
the
of
same as
resources.
from
because
the shop,
they're
sure.
they're not as
Not
up
the
on,
same.
they're not as up on the equipment as the team
Sure.
obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like he has his race mechanic with him at the track a
Yeah.
lot. If it's not the race mechanic,
You're okay.
all the techs are there or another, like, you know, Faulkner's
Yeah.
Ollie came to the track to help us this week. I mean, so it's like it's cool to
It's a
see
team effort,
It's a
yeah.
team effort.
Yeah.
And that's the way we can, like, the consistency is obviously important. We're trying to improve all the time, but the level of support that the team is offering allows us that, which it's just, you know, it's even when he has everything he needs in place in Florida, shoot, there's some days or, you know, multiple days in a row where something happens where stuff's getting shipped or there's an issue with, we feel like you could be better on this specific part of the track. Well, then they show up Monday with parts and be like, hey, let's try this.
Right.
Instead of being like, we'll get you a shock on Thursday, you know,
Yes.
instead they get back and they overnight it, but then it's like, you know, you're trying to ride late on Tuesday and they'll go into Wednesday or
Yeah, and those little things.
Well, and ultimately that, for Adam,
marginal gains.
that just helps alleviate stress also. Because it's like, why would he even have any sort of inkling as to is his chain tight? Because like his race mechanic's there,
Yeah.
right?
Or do you know you're getting better every day? Well, everything worked the way it's supposed to. Probably I'm gaining from this. When you have a day where you miss, you can't even ride.
Exactly.
Oh, that
Probably
stuff is
like,
mentally.
dude.
Mentally,
Yes.
that stuff is like, oh man, like
Yes.
we're blowing it. Everybody's getting better. I'm not.
And then
like,
you go to the race on Saturday. You're like, they rode
oh
3 days. I
jeez,
rode
yeah.
2.
Am I gonna
Yeah.
get tired or
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Yep. Yeah, I always say for anyone at your level, ambition is awesome in life. It's great to want it. But it comes with a negative of you're going to stress on every little thing that happens because you want everything to be as good as it can possibly be all the time, which is tough.
Yeah, but you have to just be a little bit realistic about it.
Right.
You just got to sprinkle some realism on there without losing the ambition. You know, it's just a balance.
Yes. Yeah, you're just not going to be happy all the time.
There we go. Exactly.
Do you ever purposely do stuff to press his buttons?
Oh my God!
He does. Okay. No, you said your dad used to do that. He purposely tried to get your skins. So you got a little bit of that?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Oh, he dies.
You're
they're laughing at here.
You gotta be kidding me, dude. Are you for real? Like what?
Oh, this is great.
Right now.
Yeah, I think he just did it.
Just
good point, Adam.
Back. Nope.
Yep.
There.
You literally press his buttons by saying I don't.
You just mentioned one earlier when we were talking about me with the I'm mad at everybody mentality, and then you coming at me with like an over extra positive attitude, which makes me just want to kick you right in the throat.
Yeah, but also too, it makes me want to like call and apologize to like my dad and like some past mechanics. Be like, dude, I'm serious. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for how I acted. I really apologize. Those days where you like, it was like 4 times before you got the start hook down, and I freaked out.
Oh, dude,
I apologize.
I just actually mentioned that to Brandon the other day. I was like, man, I've been a real asshole on race days so far this year. Like normally in the past, I've been like pretty just goofy and whatever normal, and I really locked it in this year, and I'm like, I've been a real asshole, haven't I? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, sorry about that.
That's
like if we don't get the start hook down in like two tries, I'm like, are you for real, dude? Like you're blowing it. Like what are we doing?
No, there's been a conversation. BZ, I'm gonna need you to hit the curls at the gym.
I told you gotta get
Listen
membership. Yeah. But it's funny, my mechanic's the best. Brandon's awesome. He just look at me like.
Yeah, that's what I told him the other day. I said, Brandon hits you with, he just doesn't say anything. I can't let this slide. You're acting like an idiot.
Okay, so that wraps up our show. Big thanks to Adam, Mitch, and Nick for giving me 45 minutes of their time. Hey, they couldn't even ride today for press day. The track, honestly, it would have been fine. It would have been fine. Everybody was freaking out over snow. We didn't have snow. They shoveled it off the track. The track was covered with tarps. They pulled the tarps off. The track is dry. They could have ridden today, but luckily for me, they didn't, so the riders had plenty of time, and I took advantage there with Adam. So I hope you enjoy that. We'll see how he does this weekend. Hopefully by the time you're listening to this, you're not saying, dude, he's already blown it. He's out of title contention. I don't know what's going to happen Saturday night. Maybe you'll listen to this podcast after. Spoiler alert. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for listening to the show. Thanks for Yoshimura for backing this. 6 decades of 4-stroke exhaust research and development. They have everything you need for your bike, your ATV, or your street bike. Check them out at yoshimura-rd.com. Follow them on social media as well. They got sweet photos of a lot of the greatest machines in Supercross racing. Did you see Ken Roxon go through a set of whoops on his Yoshimura shod Honda on Instagram this week? It's ridiculous. He's turning whoops into an art form. Unbelievable. And then Kenny officially won the internet by throwing in a picture of him wearing what would appear to be Fox gear, just stuffed to the gills like the kid in the wintertime in A Christmas Story movie, as if it's going to be that cold and snowy here this weekend. It was funny, but it's not serious because the weather's fine. Race is going to be good. Also, thanks to Supercross Futures. They'll be racing here on Sunday. Find out more about it. Come ride, come race, see what it's all about. Supercrossonline.com has info on Supercross Futures, and I highly encourage you to check out the new digital edition of RacerX now while you can for free. I mean, I would love for you to pay for it, but we're going to let you take a test ride for free, and then you'll love it so much that you'll be like, dude, wait, this thing's only like $25 to be able to get all this? And print magazine too? This is sweet. I mean, I'm not talking a month here, I'm talking a year. So sign up, do it. It's what funds all the work we're doing, like these podcasts you'd enjoy. Thanks for listening. I'm Jason Weigandt. Talk to you next week.